are back here on Girl Talk. We are here at Custom Audio Video with our friend Sandy Benson.
Hi, Deb.
Talking about, actually what we're really talking about, we're talking about women, we're talking about lifestyles, we're talking about kind of changes throughout the life, if you will. What I thought it might be fun actually today to talk about where to begin. I've got young kids. Well, they're not that young. Yours are what, 20 and 22?
Right.
Mine are like 35 and 34 and 22.
Right.
But
they're young because we're young.
Exactly. You bet they're young. But I know that my son and daughter-in-law are really interested in, well, they're techies. All the kids are.
Yeah, yeah. The younger, the more tech savvy they are. It's almost unbelievable, isn't it?
It really is. I thought it might be fun to talk about where to begin. When they come into Custom Audio Video, got a young couple who kind of want to know where to begin to build their custom audio video equipment. What do you all tell them usually?
Well, if they're starting new with a new home,
okay,
the most important thing we need to get across to them is, and then pursue it with their builder or architect or whatever stage they're in, but the most important thing we need to get across to them is the wiring.
Oh.
Because if there is wire in place, and even more than wire, conduit.
Okay.
If there is conduit from point A to point B for future wiring needs, for future upgrades, the house is not limited to really do anything.
All right, so let me give you a hypothetical that's kind of real. I just said I've got a client that I would love to have you meet.
Sure.
They are in the planning stages of this house, and they're looking for budgeting. Is it at this stage that I suggest that they call you?
Absolutely. This is the best stage.
Who calls? The client, the architect, or the builder?
Well, it can be any of the three, but it is normally the architect or the client, because they more or less know what the builder is going to do, what the client and architect have put together on paper.
Gotcha.
It's the other two that are designing the plan.
Okay.
You know, whether it be something minimal or something full blown, it starts at the conception of the plans.
This is perfect timing, because I know that, like, okay, so that's the new home area, because I've got this couple that really wants that for their new home.
Right.
And they've got the opportunity. I'm sure they're on a budget, but you've always said that's no problem at all. Right.
The budget isn't as big of a deal as making sure we set the the initial things are in place.
Okay.
So that what they want to do in the future, as they want to add on, as they have a larger budget to work with.
They've got the infrastructure in place.
They have the infrastructure in place to do what they need to do. And again, conduit is huge. It's a big deal.
So that's number one. Now, number two, my kids that I was talking about before when I got sidetracked, they live in a home that was built in the 1920s. Mm-hmm. Much more challenging?
Much more challenging.
Okay.
Not impossible, but definitely much more challenging. And that's when we look at some of the wireless options. Because sometimes either, number one, you don't want to cut into the walls because walls could be plaster, or if if the home is quite old, you don't want to damage any of the originality of that home.
Gotcha. The integrity of the home.
And so you now have options that can allow wireless access of music from room to room, and that's a big deal.
Well, it is a big deal, but I know for these kids, and I know most kids that I know are young couples starting out, their technology, what they do, is a huge deal too, because their entire world revolves around it.
Sure does. Sure does.
It's really pretty interesting. So that would be the first stage of life. Let's move back, making the assumption that our homes are prepared with the conduit.
Okay.
As we get older, we have kids. Are there things, again, that you recommend? Certain kinds of television, certain must-have things. The kids like music. Do I pipe things throughout my house?
Right. The things people want to look for now are things that stream. Because streaming is...
What does that mean?
Streaming means that any information from the cloud... from the information bank comes into your home via a hardwired or a wireless network system.
Okay.
And so you can access music, you can access movies, you can access TV shows, you know, and then from there you can Skype, do things wirelessly.
It's all via my television?
All via your television, dependent on the television.
Okay.
You know, of course, there are you know, the newer models that those are already included in the television.
You know, I can't believe that's just girl talk, which means we only have a few minutes and we're going to have to go. But you know what I'd love to do is, as we have you back, almost build on this theme, because I think it's really helpful to know we've kind of got our base, our groundwork laid right now.
Right, right.
Conduit, wiring, perhaps wireless in as a new homeowner.
Right.
Now we're moving up. It's so interesting. It really is.
It is. And you know, I mean, it's good information.
Yes.
Because a lot of people really, they really aren't sure, but they definitely want to be prepared, and we certainly want to help them be prepared.
Well, and I think it's enigmatic. I want it demystified. I want to be able to at least not be intimidated. And that's what's so much fun to talk with you about. We want to thank you, as always, for joining us on Girl Talk. It's
Deb.
evolved. Thank you all for joining us. Have a great day here on Girl Talk. Bye-bye.